Hi, this is Rory King with Custom Computer Detailing in Natchez, Mississippi. This evening I am making a YouTube video displaying and demonstrating and familiarizing the viewer with the HP ProDesk 600 G1. It is a desktop computer that I purchased from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I bought a number of these, and I'm going to be reselling these after I refurbish them. So this is my business card. I'm Custom Computer Detailing. Sorry about the flicker. I'm using a LED flashlight to illuminate the room and give me a little bit better light, but apparently it's got a little frequency that we're viewing. Anyway, Custom Computer Detailing. I'm located in Natchez, Mississippi. My name is Roy F. King III. My telephone number is 601-870-5372. That's my mobile number. And I can be reached at rfking3@hotmail.com. I'm a retired 20 plus years of experience as a computer software systems analyst supervisor. I retired in 2010 from the military, and I actually attended computer school with the U.S. Army in Augusta, Georgia in 1997, back when we had Windows 95. So I've been doing this for a number of years. This is 2019 now, and this is the back side of my card, so you can kind of see my mug a little bit there. Alright, so we are, let me keep it this way or we're going to screw it all up. This is the tower that we're reviewing. It is has an Intel Core i5 processor. If I put it down just a little bit, see if I can get the light just right. Intel Core i5 processor. Originally it was a Windows 7 computer. This is the little HP sticker on the front of it. It shows the serial number and the product number information. I'm not going to display the Windows 7 Pro sticker on top, otherwise everybody be out there trying to use my product key that I'm not using myself, but they don't need to be using it either. So anyway, this is what the front of the tower looks like. I have an identical computer sitting on my workbench, which is a little messy. This is what the back side of the tower looks like. And this is what the inside of the tower looks like. So we have the power supply here. It is a HP 320 watt power supply. We have the heat sink. This one I have not blown the dust out of it yet. I just brought it in and set it on the workbench, so it's a little dusty in there. Under the heat sink is a Intel i5 processor. It is the Intel i5-4570 CPU. The base frequency of it is 3.2 gigahertz. It has a turbo boost feature to it that will allow it to run up to 3.6 gigahertz in turbo boost mode. All right, directly behind that is where the RAM slots are. This one only has the factory RAM in it at this point. That is an 8 gigabyte stick of DDR3 RAM. It is manufactured by Samsung. That is what came with the computer, so apparently they were using Samsung RAM when they put these together. It has 3 additional RAM slots. The maximum RAM for this computer is 32 gigabytes of system RAM. That's a lot of RAM that you can squeeze in here. I've actually built one of these computers already and put 32 gigabytes of RAM in it, and it ran awesome. This one here is configured with 8 gigabytes. One other thing I wanted to mention about the processor, going back to the processor, is that according to the quick specs, if we come over here and look at the quick specs for the HP ProDesk 600 G1 series business desktop, I have this processor here, Intel Core i5 4570 processor. Again, we see 3.6 gigahertz max turbo frequency, and the base speed of the processor is 3.2 gigahertz per core. Notice it has 4 cores / 4 threads. That is from HP. So the little haters out there that want to say there's no way that this computer has 4 cores and 4 threads, this is from Quick Specs, directly from HP. See the little sticker up there, the little stamp? That's HP talking to you. So argue with them, not me. I'm not trying to mislead anybody. All right. It does have internal graphics. It doesn't have a dedicated video card in this particular computer. It does have DDR3 memory, which I've already showed you the 1 stick of Samsung RAM in there. I want to say it's 12800 RAM. I believe it is. There is a possibility that it's 10600, but I believe it's 12800 RAM. All right, let's go back to the actual tower itself. All right, the dimensions on the tower, in case you need to know the exact size of the tower, it is a full mid-size case. So this is a 16-inch tower, 16 inches high, 17.75 inches deep, and it is approximately 7 inches wide. Now, I've rounded off on those, so I didn't use the half inches. I figured if there was a tight space and size was really a factor, it would be better to have a little wiggle room rather than it being too small. What else? The hard drive in this particular computer, this one doesn't show it because I don't have the solid state hard drive in here yet. I don't have it configured yet. This one is just for display. But in the one below, the one that is running, not this one, I have a solid state hard drive plugged in here, and on my 0 port on my SATA drive, I have this cable moved down here to the solid state hard drive, and I have this one in as a secondary drive, and both of them are 500 gigabytes. So the C drive in the in this computer down here, in this computer, is a Samsung 500 gigabyte EVO Series 8, EVO 860 series, I believe, solid state hard drive, and it is running at well, it is 20 times faster than this traditional hard drive that we're looking at here. So had I rebuilt this computer below using this hard drive here, it would be much slower than using the solid state hard drive that I ended up going with. So I'm looking at my notes over here, and I just want to explain where I indicate power and performance factors. The 3 things that are going to make a computer run fast or slow, with the exception of software corruptions, is going to be the processor speed, the speed of the RAM, the amount of the RAM, and the the hard drive that is used. So in this particular computer, I have an Intel Core i5 processor that has 4 listed cores, and I just want to say it has 4 cores / threads. That's how I want to describe it. HP listed it as 4 cores and 4 threads. I don't believe it has that, but I like to list it as just 4 cores / threads and let the viewer make their own determination as to what I'm talking about. And before I go any further, just to cut out the confusion, let's go back up to this computer here. This is the computer directly below me, the one that is actually hooked up. And we're going to go start. My little seashell down here in the bottom, that is classic shell program. It just replaces this here. Okay, so let's get out of that. Back to classic shell. It gives me my typical Windows 7 start boxes, which is what I prefer, and most of my customers prefer that. I'm going to type in run. So I'm typing in run down here at the bottom, and up here it gives me a list of programs. There's 12 programs, and since I've clicked on this before, the one I want is at the top. So run right there, and when I click on run, it opens this box down at the bottom. It says type the name of a program, folder, document, or internet resource, and Windows will open it for you. And I'm indicating open MS config from Microsoft config. Hit OK. When I do that, this box up here opens. What I'm going after is this tab right here where it says boot. Alright. I don't recommend that novices, people that don't know what they're doing, which is probably half the people viewing this video, even go into Microsoft config, because you can really screw your computer up if you go in here and do something wrong. I am only doing it to show you what this computer indicates under processors. So right here where it says boot and advanced options, right here it says under boot, advanced options, number of processors, 4. So if I hit the little down arrow, I see that the computer, the Windows software, indicates that there are actually 4 processors there. Now HP says there's 4 processors and there's 4 hyperthreads, or 4 threads. It may mean that there's just 2 cores and 2 threads. It may mean that there's 4 cores and 4 threads. I'm not going to go into the specifics because I don't know the specifics. I'm just saying at minimum this thing has 4 cores or threads. Right? Now, let's get back over here to the performance things. The 3 things that's going to make this computer run either super fast or super slow is the speed of the processor. And we said that the processor has at least 4 processors or threads. So we have 4 guys in here. If we relate this to, say, you're digging a swimming pool in your backyard and you can't get heavy equipment in your backyard because of other structures or other obstructions of some type of, or buildings or whatever, and you got to send workers back there with shovels to dig the swimming pool. So if you send 4 big guys back there, you know, college age, linebackers on the football team, workers back there, and with shovels, they can work a lot better if there's 4 of them, and they're all working hard, which is the case here. So if we compare that to what's in here, we have 4 workers. All 4 are pretty good sized workers, and they're all in pretty good shape, okay, because that's a pretty good clock speed. It has turbo boost up to 3.6, which is even better. The best computer that I've ever seen had a clock speed of 4.0. So I've never seen anything faster than 4 gigahertz clock speed. I have seen higher than 3.2 and 3.6. I think I've seen 3.7, 3.75, maybe 3.8 once before, but I've only seen one that was 4.0 gigahertz clock speed. So processor is important. The amount of RAM is important. This one only has 8 gigabytes of system RAM on the one stick. It's DDR3 RAM. Yes, you can add more RAM to it. As it is currently configured, it probably doesn't need any more RAM. Should you want to add more RAM to it, in this particular computer, what do I do with my light? You go with this lower power light for a minute. Alright, so on this one, notice I'm already using the black slot. That is the primary slot for RAM. And I'm going to use a sister slot, the other black one, if I add an additional RAM stick to it. And ideally I want to add paired RAM. So if I have another computer that I want to upgrade, if I want to upgrade 2 computers, I would take the RAM out of the second computer that was identical build to this one, add it to this computer, so I have the same Samsung RAM manufacturers at the same time, both of them added to the same computer. And then the second computer that's now without RAM, I would probably go online and order RAM, two sticks of 8 gigabytes that was paired together. When you combine mismatched or unpaired RAM, sometimes you get hardware issues. Okay, I just seen where my other flashlight went to. Alright, so RAM is important. If you don't have enough of it, yes, the computer's going to run slow. And the hard drive. Again, the hard drive, a solid-state hard drive, runs 20 times faster on average than a traditional 7200 spin hard drive. So this particular computer build down here, this one underneath the one that's running, has 2 hard drives in it. The demo one up here at the top with the cover off does not. It only has what came with it, which is the traditional. But the traditional hard drive has a 7200 spin hard drive. Now, think of a hard drive, a traditional hard drive, as a record player. And the record holds your computer data. So basically it's a big round CD type disk or a record type disk up inside that hard drive, and it's spinning at 7,200 rotations per minute. Well, the data might be written, say for the data just for one program is written all over that hard drive in little pieces, little sections. And before it can open a particular program or open a particular data file, it has to find all the little pieces of that data file or that program, locate them and open them, save them and open them before the program's actually going to open. That time that it takes it to read the entire album or the entire disk represents a delay. That delay is called latency, or that's what it's referred to as latency time. And latency time is a delay. It's extra time the computer is taking to do a job. And so those are delays. We don't want delays. Solid state hard drives don't have any moving parts in them. So solid state hard drives are just gobs and gobs faster because they don't have to deal with those delays of the hard drive spinning and the read-write arm going over it and trying to locate all the locations of the data. All right. The power supply, I think I've already mentioned it has a 320 watt power supply in it. That is an HP model DPS 320 QBB. That is what I read off the power supply before when I was taking these notes. All right. It has a small built-in internal speaker inside the tower, and that is located right here. All right. So up in the front, you know, ideally you don't want to use that to listen to music or whatever, but it just for the sounds the computer needs to make to tell you what it's doing or to kind of give you some prompts or whatever, that is where that speaker is located. I guess if you had no other speakers plugged in, it might play some audio for you, but it probably wouldn't play it very loud. The CD/DVD drive is an HP model GTBON. It's a super multi-DVD writer. It is located right here. So in the front of the computer, if we look at this tower here, I almost turned the thing, which I shouldn't have. This is where the DVD drive is located. Press the button, it pops out. Right now there's nothing in it. All right. There is nothing behind this here. So that's just a hard piece of plastic. It can be removed if you have like a removable hard drive or something that you want to stick in there. It has a quick release, or some type of a old style tape writer, magnetic tape, or adding other devices in there. That is a little access door that can be removed. All right, let's see what else. Let's go to the front of the tower since I'm already kind of pointing my camera toward it. On the front of the tower, let me use the brighter light. All right, on the front of the tower, we have the two top USBs are USB 2.0s. The blue ones directly below, those are USB 3.0s. So a 3.0 USB port, provided you're using a device that supports 3.0 speed or in 3.0 USB connections, can move the data up to 10 times faster. So if you have a USB thumb drive and you are moving a huge file from the computer to the USB drive or vice versa, and it's a 3.0 USB drive, it's the 3.0 jump drive, then you want to use one of those blue ports. See the little blue ones on the bottom? You want to use those because they're going to move the data faster. Now directly below that is a 3.5 millimeter audio jack for headphones and a 3.5 millimeter audio jack for speakers. So for headphones / microphone, and the one directly below it is just for the headphones. So if you need to plug speakers in or headphones, you can either plug them up in the very front, or you can plug them up in the very back, because these 3.5 millimeter connection ports are repeated in the back of the tower. All right. The only other thing on the very front of the computer that I have not pointed out yet, not this little emblem down at the bottom that says HP, but up here at the very top, that is your power button. You only press that to turn the computer on. And the only other time that you might press it is if you were desperate and the computer was just frozen. software wise or whatever, and you couldn't shut it off and you needed to restart it to try to get it running again, you could hold that power button down for 8 to 10 seconds and the computer would or should shut off. Anyway, that is the front of that tower. It's a nice computer tower. I mean, there's more attractive towers, but it's not ugly. So and I have seen ugly. All right, on the back of the tower, we have at the very let's see, down here at the bottom, the green is for the speakers. The blue is for I believe it's going to be for your microphone port. And then the blue USBs, those are your 3.0 USBs. The black ones just up above are your 2.0 USBs. Next, we have a VGA video connection cable. And then we have that thing just above it. I believe that's going to be a serial output. Say if you were using an old style serial printer, like one of those little ones that had the little holes in them, you know, that feeds the paper. You know, antique basically. These things right here, those are video outputs. They're not HDMIs. They kind of look similar to HDMIs. HP describes those as, let's see, where did I write it down at? It says +2 display ports. Max monitor supported is 3. So if we use these 2 ports right here and we use the blue one, provided we can get the little interface cables to connect our monitors to those 2 there, we can run up to 3 monitors at the same time just using this computer with no additional hardware, no dedicated video card back here in the back. Alright, then we have 2 more USB 2.0 ports directly below the Ethernet port. The Ethernet port being where you connect your internet cable. And then we have the old style. It has old style redundancy. So we have the purple and the green. That's going to be PS2 connectors for old style keyboards and mice. And then the last thing we have up at the very front is our place we plug in our power cord, or 120 volt power cord going to our wall, or a power source. And then that's the cooling fan on the back side of the power supply. Alright, I think I have covered everything in the inside of the computer of any significance. Again, I'll remind you that this is a demo model. This is not exactly configured like the one below that we're going to actually show you the software on, because this one does not have any software installed on it yet, and it's missing right here. It's missing the solid state hard drive, which is the new C drive. It does have this original hard drive still in it, which is a 500 gigabyte, and that can be used either for system images, which are backups or clones of your entire hard drive, or it can be used just as a straight up data drive for storing, you know, lots of files like movies or music or whatever. Or if you just wanted to use it as a second drive to do manual backups of your personal data on the first drive. Alright, that completes my orientation on the actual hardware of the computer. 23 minutes into the video. So everything else that I'm going to say here is going to relate to how I have the software set up on this computer. So I'm going to wiggle my mouse to wake up the computer directly below, which is going to be this one. That's the one that has the solid state hard drive in it, and that's the one that we're going to be talking about now. So we're going to talk about how I have the software set up on this computer. Now, just as a disclaimer, this is kind of like my standard setup. It can be set up different. This is how I choose to set it up for the majority of my clients. This is just a method that I found is most user-friendly for the majority of my clients. Okay, so in this particular case, for example, I have Microsoft Office 2007 installed on these computers. So I could put I could put Office 365 up there in its place. I could put a full version of Microsoft Office, the full installation of that, and I could have the latest version. In this particular case, I happen to install Office 2007. But if my customer has Office 365 and that's the one that they want, this can be removed, uninstalled, or if I'm setting the computer up as a custom setup, I can just hold back on installing Microsoft Office and put their version of Office on there when we get the computer delivered. The other thing that is not installed on this particular computer yet is our antivirus software. I won't install the antivirus software until this computer is sold and delivered. So trying to maximize the number of days that the client will have access to their antivirus software, because it runs a maximum 1 year, the Norton antivirus does. So I install, when I'm installing antivirus, I'm prior military, as my card indicated, my business card earlier, and my preference is Norton antivirus. That's what we use primarily in the military, and that's just what I'm most comfortable with. Now, if you're a McAfee user, or you just happen to be sold on something else, more power to you. I'm a Norton person. So that being said, the version of Norton that I install on a Windows 10 computer is Norton Security Deluxe, and it's usually good for 1 year. You can probably get it where it lasts for longer than that, maybe 18 months or 15 months or maybe even 2 years. The Norton that I purchase doesn't last that long. It lasts 1 year. And if you buy a 5-pack of Norton, the moment you install the first license in that 5-pack, the days start counting on the additional 4 installations, whether you're using them or not. So if I install the first license today, a week from now, if I install the second license is only going to be good for 366 days minus 1 week. Even though I just installed it, it's missing a week's worth of coverage. So if that makes sense to y'all, great. If not, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. All right, so let's talk about the software on this particular computer. We talked about what's not on here, what could be different. Again, the Office could be different. The antivirus could be installed. If I have a customer that's still using something like Corel WordPerfect, or if they're using QuickBooks, or if they have printers that need to be installed, I do that typically when I deliver the computer. We add the additional software at that time and customize it for the user. This one doesn't have WordPerfect on it. Some of y'all may not even know what WordPerfect is. If you're younger than 40 years of age, you probably don't even know what WordPerfect is. But it used to be the competitor from Microsoft Office, and it did very well, especially in the legal field. Just about every attorney back in the day used WordPerfect for their word processing software, and there's a lot of attorneys out there, and also professional writers that still prefer WordPerfect for their word processing software. All right, moving along. The first thing I need to talk about, I mentioned it briefly earlier, is this classic shell program down here in the bottom. You see it looks like a little seashell. What that does is when I come over here and I click the little start button, it replaces the Windows Start that's built into Windows 10, and it gives me a pop-up box that looks very, very familiar to Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows XP, Windows 2000, Windows 98, maybe even Windows 95. I don't remember about Windows 95 if they had that pop-up box or not. But that pop-up box has just been around forever, and people like me, and particularly like my customers, aren't real fond of change. So I added this classic shell program, so we give you a start box that looks familiar, that you're more comfortable with. Now, if for any reason you need to see the little tiles page, I've got a link for it right here where it says Start Windows, Start Menu Windows. If I click on that, it pops up what would be there if I didn't have the classic shell program installed. Okay, so still have the other option if you need it, but I think the majority of my customers would prefer it to be set up this way. You can do a search here. This is Cortana. That's task view. I have Google Chrome set up as my default browser. I have a link for my Microsoft Word down here at the bottom. So if I'm in a website and I need to copy and paste something, if I need to get to Microsoft Word quickly, I can just go down to the bottom taskbar and see it there and open it without having to close or minimize the screen that I'm in the browser. And then this is Windows File Explorer, Microsoft File Explorer. All right, up here at the top. Well, let's go over here to the bottom side of this over here. First of all, that is the correct date for the time I'm shooting this video. I'm in Natchez, Mississippi, and that is the correct date and time. It shows that I have speakers, and it shows that I'm connected to an Ethernet connection, and I'm not sure what this little it says DTS audio control panel. So that was a driver that was automatically installed to control some of the audio features on this particular computer, and I got that driver automatically as I was doing the Windows updates. All right, before I start covering the other icons on the desktop, I want to come in and talk about a few more specific things in the software. So if I go to start and I select this PC, it will show me a screen that shows both of my hard drives. So this is my solid state hard drive, my Samsung EVO 860 series, 500 gigabyte, and this is the traditional hard drive that came with the computer. I want to use a solid state hard drive because this one is 20 times faster than this one. So if everything important, like my operating system and all my programs are on this one, that's 20 times faster, the computer's going to be 20 times faster. All right, we're going to come up here to where it says computer. And so I've selected computer, and we're going to come over here to where it says system properties. All right, it says installed RAM is 8 gigabytes. We've already talked about that. And we have Windows 10 Pro, 64-bit is what I have installed. I have version 1903 of Windows. Excuse me for the cough. I've had the crud for about 6 weeks now, so it's got my voice a little deeper, and I cough occasionally, so I apologize. 19 is the year, 2019. 03 is the month. Well, Windows version 1903 actually came out in around 1905. It came out in May instead of March, but they didn't change the version number, so it's still called 1903 even though it came out after that. But that is the latest version as of 8/10 2019. Version 1903 is the current version, and essentially every 6 months Microsoft comes out with a big, basically it's a big huge service pack for Windows 10, and it basically overwrites the old version of Windows 10 and it replaces it with the newest version of Windows 10. Okay, I think that's everything on this page here. And it also shows, so it shows our 2 hard drives, it shows our C drive, it shows a system image drive that we can use the backup and restore feature to and write clones of this over to this. And then it has our DVD drive. All right. Now, if you've watched my videos before, everything I'm going to talk about really from this point on is just describing software. So how I set up the software on this particular computer. And since I set the computers all up essentially the same way, regardless of the make and the model of the actual computer, the software I do the same because I just feel like it's the right way to do it. If you've seen previous videos and you know how I've described my software setup, then you can stop watching the video at this point and save yourself having to watch it twice. So if I come into, I'm sorry, let's start at the top of the desktop screen. I have 4 browsers set up here. I have Google Chrome, which is my default browser. I have it set to open as the home page as google.com. You can set it to anything that you want it to set to open to, but that's what I set it to, is google.com. And I set all of my customers' computers up the same way until they tell me otherwise. The next one is Mozilla Firefox. I have it set up to msn.com. Not that I'm a big fan of MSN, but I believe in Variety, and that's a news website. And although I don't always agree with all their the politics of their website and how they kind of lean one way or the other, I do believe in variety and giving my customers variety in their news sources. Microsoft Edge is the polar opposite of MSN and the Yahoo News over here. Those MSN and Yahoo News is pretty liberal, and Microsoft Edge is pretty conservative because it's set up to foxnews.com. So if you can see, I got a liberal and a conservative, you know. So I've only one conservative out of 4. And Google Chrome is, because it just opens to google.com, it's neither conservative or liberal. It just opens to basically a search site. And then Google Earth is just a mapping program. It's similar to on your smartphone, whether you have an Android or an Apple. It's kind of like your Maps program. So if I click on it, it opens a world map. And this is just an advertisement. So I'll close that. And if we look over here, we can see that I actually have a pinprick where I've saved a location. That is my home. And we can't see it right now because we're not zoomed in enough, but I live right there. So if I start to zoom in, I can see the pinprick appear. And I live just north of Natchez, Mississippi, right there. All right, so I pinpricked it. So there's Natchez, Mississippi, and there I live. So that's Google Earth Pro. Again, this is Internet Explorer. It should open to yahoo.com. It does. Jerry Epstein dies by suicide. Wow. That's just my first time hearing about that, so that must have just happened. All right, Microsoft Edge. So Microsoft Edge, again, it opens to foxnews.com. Fox News. It opens to msn.com. And Google opens to google.com. All right, so that's all I have. The 4 browsers set up. Again, that can be customer preference if they wanted to all be Yahoo or all be Fox News or all be google.com. You know, we can make that happen. And then our word processor, that's just for typing papers. So there's our Microsoft Word. It just happens to be the 2007 version. Excel spreadsheet, PowerPoint, and Publisher. All right. And I like to have this PC, that link set up on the desktop, because that allows me to get in and see any drives that I have connected to the computer. So if I had a thumb drive plugged in right now, all I'd have to do is click on this PC. I'd be able to see my thumb drive and any other external devices I had plugged in. And of course the trash can is kind of default on the desktop. All right, in the middle, let's move along. I have just some internet shortcut links. So I have one to Family Search. Family Search is a genealogy website. It's a free site. It's provided by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It is it's not the sister to Ancestry.com. This site came first a long time earlier than Ancestry.com. Ancestry.com is actually not a sibling of, but a child of Family Search. So the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been doing genealogy and ancestry work for the last nearly 200 years. And they've been collecting names and doing tons and tons and tons of stuff and building a database. Ancestry.com just came in, took advantage of a database that already existed, wrote their own software, and now they're selling their services. You pay a membership to be part of Ancestry.com, whereas you can do the same thing on Family Search for free. All right, so I put Family Search on there. The Weather Channel, I've got it set up for Natchez. We can change that zip code and make it for any location, but I can see like my 5-day forecast, my weather maps, if I have storms coming through, whatever, all from my my weather shortcut to the Weather Channel. Next, I have Hotmail. I happen to use Hotmail for my email address. If you have AOL or Yahoo or Bell South or Gmail, whatever, we can make a different desktop shortcut to open your email. But this is how I have it set up, just as a default, until I get to the customer's home or business and customize it for their location. And Facebook. So the last one is Facebook. Most people use Facebook that use a computer. They have a Facebook account, or they'll go in and look at family members' Facebook accounts. It's a good way to keep up with what's going on in the extended family, particularly if they don't live in your immediate area. And especially the folks that like to gossip and stir the pot, you know, Facebook's a favorite tool, I'm sure. I'm not a high drama person, but I know a lot of people that are. All right, so YouTube. I have a link that just opens YouTube in general. So this is just if you just open YouTube and just get the generic, nothing special YouTube. And the next one says custom computer detailing. That is my YouTube channel. So this is going to open YouTube as well, but it's going to open my YouTube channel on YouTube. So if I click on that, there are videos that I've created. Now, a bunch of them are computer related because that's what I do for a living. That's my business. But I'm involved in a lot of charity projects. I put together this mentoring workshop where we had the chief of police and the mayor, the sheriff, myself, a local attorney, and a local alderman, and an assistant to the sheriff were the mentors, and we came and talked to a room full of kids about life choices and staying out of trouble and making something out of themselves. So some of the projects that I'm involved in. Anyway, my YouTube channel, Custom Computer Detailing. I put that link on the desktop. And in this, in my channel, I provide, if we look down here, let's see, where's it at? Cleaning steps 1 through 10, right? And PC-based software updates. So if you get a computer that I've set up, all you have to do is watch this video. I'm sorry, this video here. Part 1, part 2. 1 hour 27 minutes seems like a long time, but I go real slow, just like I'm going real slow in this video, and I explain everything before I do it and why we're doing it, and then I do it. And all you have to do is watch this video and do everything I do in the video, and you will be able to do all the software updates correctly on your computer without adding infections or corruptions, or you should be able to. There's always an exception, but anyway, it should be foolproof there. Doing the actual cleaning programs, I've got a bunch of additional cleaning software set up on these computers. If you watch this video here, you can do all the cleaning steps on your particular computer using software that's already been pre-installed by me. Okay? So, good link to know, but if you look over here, I've actually already pasted on the desktop actual links to those specific videos. So there's the software updates, and there's the cleaning steps video. So all you have to do is, if you had 2 computers, you could watch it on one computer and do it on the other, or you could watch it on a smartphone and do it on the computer. That would be the smart thing. All right, the next one is desktop blowout. Again, that's one of my YouTube videos. That's just where I'm taking a computer outside and I'm blowing all the dust out of it, which I haven't done in this one. So where did my little light go to? I just had it. Let's see. So if I look down here, you saw that dust? That computer hasn't been blown out yet. If we look up in the fans, we can see some dust up in there. This isn't that bad off, actually. But the more dust it has, the more heat it accumulates while it's running. And it's best just for yearly maintenance, especially if you live in a really dusty environment. Take the computer outside, take a low power leaf blower, and blow the dust out of it. So, let's see. So anyway, all this video is about is me blowing the dust out of a computer. You saw the dust? All right. So that's what the desktop blowout is. It's just a video link reminding you need to blow your dust out. This close the virus warning, that is a video made by another computer technician somewhere else in the United States, and he's just explaining how a scam works, that a lot of scammers that call you up try to cheat you out of your money use, or they try to get you to call them to initiate the phone call. I would highly encourage you to watch that video. I'll go ahead and open it so you can see how it's titled on the YouTube video.
Hi guys, I want to show you a quick video here.
That's what it says.
One of the common, I guess the common misconceptions of your computer is contaminated or that you got a virus. You're looking at this screen. I'm going to explain actually what happens here and actually how to get out of it safely. This is my computer. This is not a virus-proof computer. This is my regular Windows 7.
All right, so that is just another computer technician making a helpful video just like I'm doing now. And he's explaining how to get out of this scam. If you're on a browser page on one of your internet browsers and it's telling you you have all these viruses and you can't get out of the page, it tells you how to safely do it. Okay, so if you haven't ever watched that video before, I would encourage you to watch that. And I put it on my customers' computers and strongly encourage them to watch it, and the majority of them do not. But I always tell them to, whether they do or not. All right, most of this over here is maintenance related. So this video that tells you how to do your software updates, I'll actually have a written paper that explains it as well. Same for the cleaning steps, I have a written paper. And how to create a system image, I have a written paper. The Adobe Acrobat Reader in Windows 10, I need to explain why Adobe Acrobat Reader is on this computer. In Windows 10, Microsoft has created a PDF reader that is built into Microsoft Edge. All right, I understand that Microsoft Edge can open my PDF files. I don't care for it too, though. I would rather continue to use Adobe Acrobat Reader, which has been the gold standard for years and years and years. Okay, I understand Microsoft is trying to edge out Adobe on their computers or on their PCs by adding a built-in feature in Windows 10 that takes over something that Adobe does. But I don't like change, just like everybody else. The majority of people don't prefer changing something that's worked fine forever, and I'm the same way. So I installed Adobe Acrobat Reader and made it the default PDF reader for all PDFs. And speed test, that is a app on Windows 10. It's not an internet shortcut. It is actually an app that you can get from the App Store to monitor your internet speed. So when I click on it, it's going to open this page here. And when I hit the go button, it is going to do a speed test on my internet connection speed. It's going to give me 3 scores. A ping score is a delay, and that's in milliseconds. I want that number to be small. So 38 milliseconds is reasonably small. If it was 88 instead of 38, that would be bad. That's worse, more delay. I don't want it. I want that number to be small, not big. So if it was 488, that would be horrible. That might be like what you'd get if you had HughesNet or something, and it had to do those extra little handshakes to connect to the satellite dish. So the smaller the number here, great. The bigger the number here on download speed, that's even better. And upload speed, you know, this is where you're doing most of your work on download. So download is the most important of the three, unless you're a somebody that uploads just tons and tons and tons of stuff. So for example, when this video was completed, it's already at 50 minutes and 25 seconds. So it's going to be over 1 hour when it's finished. And I'm not going to, I could upload from here, and that's a reasonable speed to upload from. It's much better than DSL, of course. But I have a commercial site locally. One of my clients is a hotel that has 100 megabits per second upload speed. So I will actually take my phone, my smartphone, which is an iPhone 7 Plus, take it to their location, connect to their hotel's Wi-Fi, and I'll upload it at the much faster upload speed. And even at 100 megabits per second, it's still going to take a while for that video to upload. So anyway, that's your three speeds: your ping score, your download score, and your upload score. And you can run that test from your speed test app. Now, why would you want to have the speed test app on your computer? Well, most of what we use our computer for nowadays is something related to the internet. So we're either shopping online, we're on Facebook, we're on our email, we're reading the news, watching a Netflix movie, or we're watching YouTube videos. If for some reason our computer's just running like crap one day, and we don't know, is it the computer that's at fault or if it's our internet connection, we can actually isolate the problem using our speed test app, because we can eliminate the internet connection as being the problem if the computer, if it's actually the computer at fault. Most likely it's going to be the internet connection that's going to be at fault, and the speed test app will identify that. If we're used to seeing 23 megabits per second download speed, and we run this test and we don't even get 1 megabit per second download speed, then our problem is not the computer. The problem is our internet. So we need to reset our modem or a gateway or our Wi-Fi routers, whatever. So it helps you, it's a troubleshooting tool. Okay. The next thing I want to point out is the news websites. All right, that is a just a folder full of internet shortcut links, internet shortcuts. So I've got 20 newspapers or TV stations or radio stations or newspapers or other media sites listed there. So most of them are local or regional, and a few of them are national, like CNN and Fox News. But the majority of those are local to Natchez, Mississippi. So if you like reading the local newspaper, say the Natchez Democrat, and you aren't willing to pay for it anymore because it's only like 6 pages deep. It's used to be a mega newspaper, and now it's, you know, I think it's a 5-day-a-week newspaper now instead of 7, and there's not a lot in it, and you just don't want to pay for it, but you don't mind reading it, you know, if you can see it for free. Well, you can log on to their website and you can read the news for free. So they're still counting votes from last election, which was a couple days ago. Concordia Sentinel, that's another newspaper that's over in Faraday, Louisiana. Listen up, y'all, or is a link to radio, a group of radio stations that are all owned by the same group. I was going to use a big fancy name, and I know I'm going to mispronounce it if I do, so I'm not going to use it. So that is the Listen Up, y'all. That's the radio stations. Fox News, CNN. So basically links to 20 news and media sites. And then media players. These are the media players that I have gone out of the way to specifically install on this computer. Now, Windows Media Player, That is built into Windows 10. That's the only one that came with the software, the Windows 10 software. These 3 additional ones I added. I went out of my way to add those as extras. So I have Winamp, I have VLC, Media Player, and I have Audacity. So the VLC is the default media player for most of the files, if not all of the files in this particular computer. And so if I click on a music file, it's going to open using the VLC media player. If I click on a video, it's going to open using the VLC media player. And I selected VLC as my default media player because it just seems to open everything, or almost everything. It does a much better job than, say, Windows Media Player, which may only open 70% of the media file types. So I want something that's going to work almost 100% of the time for my customers, so they're not getting frustrated, calling me up saying my computer's not working when it's something that they're just not familiar with. All right, so we have covered the media players. The only thing that we haven't covered, there's several things, but that computer toolbox. I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the software updates and the cleaning steps that I had added a lot of additional maintenance software to this computer, and those maintenance programs are located in this computer toolbox folder. So whatever you do, if you get a computer from me, do not delete that computer toolbox folder. It has stuff in it that doesn't exist anywhere else. That is all maintenance related. And if you delete that folder and throw it away in your trash and you dump your trash, you no longer have access to those tools should you need them later to fix a corruption on your computer or a virus or a malware infection or whatever. All right, so let me go ahead and open this briefly. So right here from 00A to 00D, I've got 99 updates. That's a website that you can go to and get a bunch of your software updates from. Windows updates, that's just doing Windows Microsoft updates for the Windows 10 program. And then I have Java. Java is an additional program that is needed for certain websites to work properly. And I've left out 00B, which is Apple software updates. If I had Apple software installed on here, that link would go right there. And then if I'm actually doing the cleaning steps, let me make this a little bigger. If I'm actually doing the cleaning steps, I'm telling you to do steps 1 through 10. So basically from there to there. So clean up, cleans the history. That just dumps temporary internet files. Internet options kind of does some of the same, but it does some other stuff too. Glares Utilities is your registry cleaning program. And then the 4s are getting rid of rootkit infections. TDSS Killer, McAfee Rootkit Removal, Adware Cleaner, which is also a Malwarebytes product now. They bought it. And Norton Power Eraser. And then I have Malwarebytes Anti-Malware and SpyBot Search and Destroy. Those get rid of your typical malware infections when you get them. Number 7 is Windows Malicious Software Removal Tool. That is a cleaning program provided by Microsoft. And then I have a link for Hitman Pro. That Hitman Pro program is not actually installed, but it is there waiting to be installed should you need it. It's a only if you need it program. And then number 8, which is not installed, that's where the Norton Security Deluxe Antivirus would go. If I had it installed on this computer, that's where it would fit in the list. Number 9 is defragging and optimizing the hard drives. And number 10 is creating and using system restore points. And I believe in making manual restore points. When I do maintenance work on the computer, I believe in making my own restore points in addition to what the computer makes automatically. All right, so that is the, there's more stuff in the toolbox, but the most important stuff is the software links for doing software updates and the cleaning steps 1 through 10. In the documents folder, this is the last thing that we're going to cover in terms of software. And I run a Christ-based business, so I have a number of religious things that I give you in your documents folder. So in the miscellaneous gift folder, the majority of what is in the miscellaneous gift folder is religious in nature. So I have links to the Old and New Testament King James Version of the Bible, so you can listen to the audio scriptures if you prefer to. And you know, it's King James Version. If you have a King James Version Bible, you can get your Bible out and start it and open up those audio files, and you can listen to the Bible and follow along in your own Bible, so which is kind of cool. Anyway, there's a lot of other religious stuff in there. There's videos and all kinds of stuff. If you live in Louisiana or Mississippi, I've got a blank Louisiana public records request and a blank Mississippi public records request form that I created that is located here. This is what the Louisiana one looks like. So if you want to do a public records request from one of your governmental agencies that is a state agency, you could use this form, fill it out. This would be a legally binding form. They would have to comply or at least reply to you. Same for Mississippi. There's the Mississippi version of the form. And I'll scroll down so you can see that there's more to it down here at the bottom. Alright, so it's just a one-page form. And the John Doe folder, if you are doing manual backups, say over to a jump drive just to save your files, this is just a helpful folder. It's a master folder that's called John Doe Backup Any Date Here. It just gives you an idea of what to try to back up if you're doing your backups manually. So whatever's on your C drive, if you have a folder sitting out there on your C drive that's just got tons of personal documents in it, it shouldn't be there in the first place, but if it is, back it up to your jump drive. Your contacts folder, your desktop items, your documents folder items, your downloads folder items. If you're using a program like Family Tree Maker, that data has to be exported. Your Internet Explorer favorites, your music items, music folder items, your picture folder items. If you have QuickBooks, that data has to be exported. And if you have any videos, you want to copy those. So if you cover those areas, you probably got all of your data. Now, if you happen to be saving data someplace other than those, then you need to make a mental note and add that to your little list. And again, this is just helpful if you're doing a manual backup, say over to a jump drive or an external hard drive, so you don't miss anything. And I'll click on my miscellaneous gift just so you can kind of see what's in there. And so tulips is mostly pictures of tulips that you can use as desktop screens. Computer tutorials and just some geeky papers that I wrote. Some funnies. There's only 2 items in there. One's a picture of a coffee cup, and the other is a video of a police dog that they're training. And there's an Old and New Testament King James Version of the Bible. LDS Gift has more religious stuff in it. Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs is in the Maslow folder. That is all psychology related. RJ Young printer support. One of my customers works for them, or his son works for them, and I provided that as a let me fix this real quick. It's bothering me. All right. So, RJ Young printer support. One of my clients, his son worked for RJ Young printer support. So as a courtesy to my client, I listed his son's information there in the miscellaneous gift folder. The sample church bulletins, if you happen to be the person that makes the weekly bulletin at your church, you can use one of these. It's a sample church bulletin. And this, so this would be like where the outer picture would go, the cover picture on the bulletin. This would be the back page, and then this would be the inside of it. And close that. And I have a second one. So similar but different. And once you come in, you pick one of the two, and you go in and you customize it. You put your church's name, your church's address, your pastor's name, your contact numbers for your particular church, and then you go in and customize it. The first Sunday that you do it, you do the most work, and you save that, and you save your changes, Then after that, on a weekly basis, the pastor is probably going to stay the same. The telephone numbers are going to stay the same. The week might change, so you change that. And then maybe who's running certain things, you would change those things. Maybe the prayer list might have changed, but the majority of it would stay the same. The services are going to start at the same time every week, more than likely. So you're not having to change everything. You make your most changes the first time you edit it. You save those changes, and then on a weekly basis, you only have to come in and alter just a few things, and you have a current bulletin for the next week. So that is your sample church bulletins. Better Than I Used to Be. That is a YouTube video by Tim McGraw. Educational Benefits is a help paper I created. It's about 17 pages. It explains how the college financial aid process much better than the financial aid office people are going to explain it to you. I have a BSN in nursing, and I had to learn most of this information on my own. So read the help paper. I got back $21,000 in refunds my last year of nursing school using the information in that I created. So I had to learn it on my own. I'm saving you the having to climb that mountain. If You Can Read My Mind is another YouTube video. That's by Crystal Gale. A Marriage Crossroads Guidebook is a help paper for families in crisis. Scriptures Online is a internet site where you can use topical guides and Bible dictionaries and stuff like that. Seminary Donuts is a really good Easter message. Submit a photo that's to the Natchez Democrat. If you drove past a building that was on fire or whatever, and you thought that'd make a good picture for the paper, you can submit your photo to the local paper using that link. The Sacrifice of the Christ is a play. That is actually the script for a play that they put on every year at Easter time that I'm involved in at a local church that depicts the like the last week of Christ on the earth, when he was in Jerusalem, and when he was the events leading up to the crucifixion and right after the crucifixion. And "'Tis the Set of Sails" is a poem that I heard in a church devotional once, and I just thought I liked it a lot, and I never heard it before, and I figured if I didn't memorialize it, it might get lost again. So I found it online after I heard it in church, and I typed it out, and then I basically recreated it. So that's what's in the miscellaneous gift folder. That is strictly a gift folder. Keep what you like, discard what you don't. If it's inappropriate for your work site, say if this is at a business, then we might not have that on the business computer if it was at a business site. But if it was at a residential site, I deliver every computer that I service has a miscellaneous gift folder on it that is going to a residential site. And it's your option. It's your computer. It's your option to delete that or keep what you like in it. But again, that's just a gift from me. So that is my basic description of the this particular computer is the HP ProDesk 600 G1. It has a 4th generation Intel Core i5 processor in it. It's a really good computer. Again, this is what the inside looks like, minus the dust. This one just hadn't gotten the dust blown out yet, and it doesn't have the the new C drive, the solid state hard drive, not in this particular one yet. Really nice computer. I am selling these. I bought these particular computers from the USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, through a government website, and I've refurbished them at a professional level. So I'm not just somebody that's out there decided one day I was going to be a computer technician. I'm U.S. military trained. I'm retired from the military now, and I've been doing computer servicing since 1997 as a computer software systems analyst supervisor or as an independent computer technician. So approximately 22 years, coming on 22 years, I've been a computer technician. So if I can assist you with selling you one of these computers, or if I can work on a computer that you already have and get your computer set up like this one here set up, then I'll be more than happy to, provided that we can work something out between the distance and the payment and whatever. But I generally service computers about 50 miles out in all directions from Natchez, Mississippi. The zip code is 39120. So if you're a little further out than that, I can probably still make a service call to you. But if you're, say, in Pennsylvania or California, I might not be able to do anything other than ship a computer to you after you paid me for it. All right? So, again, I'm happy to make this video for you. I hope it taught you something about the HP ProDesk 600G1s. It's a really good computer. And again, here's my contact information should you need my services. Custom computer detailing in Natchez, Mississippi. Sorry about the shadow. Can't keep up with that doggone flashlight. Here we go. So that's my information, and that's the back side. All right. Thank you very much for watching the video, and y'all have a great day.